guys, I'm back with another foundation review video, and today we have the Innisfree My Foundation, and this comes in 50 combinations to choose from because you can basically choose the amount of moisture you want, the amount of coverage, and your shades. And I think this is pretty innovative of Innisfree because a lot of foundations just come out with like a ton of shades to choose from, but you know, they may not be suitable for dry skin or they may not be suitable for oily skin. And some people want a more natural finish, some people want more coverage. So I think this is really unique of Innisfree to do, but the shade range for this foundation is pretty lousy because there's only 5 shades to choose from. I mean, it is a Korean brand, so it's catered more towards Korean skin tones. I mean, coming up with 50 combinations to choose from is quite a lot for Innisfree to handle already, I suppose. Maybe if it does well, they will introduce more shades into the range, but for now, it just goes from C13, C21, N21, N22, and N23, which is the darkest. So if you're not familiar with how Koreans label their foundations, it's basically like numbers. And the most common shades are number 21 and 23, which is about like my complexion. So if you are around my skin tone, Korean foundations will generally suit you. Alright, so this retails for about $30 and you do get 1 fluid ounce or 30 ml of product in it. And the way you choose this foundation is first you get the amount of moisture you want. So number 1 is matte, number 2 is semi-matte, and number 3 is dewy, and that would be the first digit of the foundation over here. So what I got is matte, and that's 1. And then the second option would be to choose your coverage, 1 being the sheerest and 5 being the fullest coverage. So I chose a full coverage foundation, so I got a 1.5 combination. And then your shades are printed elsewhere on the top of the box or at the bottom of the bottle. So the bottle does come with a glass packaging and a pump, so everything looks really nice. And yeah, I have worn this foundation out already, so I do have some opinions on it, but I still need to test it out further. And so today I am going to show you how it applies and how it wears for like maybe 6 hours. I did wear it for about 8 hours and I went out and did stuff. So yeah, I'll talk about that later on, but for now, let's put the foundation on my face. So this is my skin without anything on. I do have some spots and blemishes. Nothing too major, but yeah. So I'm first going to prime my face with my Kiss New York Pro Touch Mattifying Primer. I always use this when I'm testing foundations out because this doesn't have any like oil control properties or claims to it, and it also doesn't claim to cover pores and whatnot, so we can really test the claims of the foundation and how it performs. And then I'm using a brush to blend out the foundation. It does have like a powdery floral scent. So this is one layer of the foundation on, and it is really full coverage. It also helped to like minimize some of my pores, nothing too much as compared to other foundations. So yeah, it really evened out my skin tone and it is covering pretty much all of my blemishes, and everything looks really, really flawless. So I really like this finish. It is a matte finish with no sheen or glow to it. It does feel slightly tacky at first, but it kind of goes away, so it feels more matte now and not super sticky or anything. I will say though, the shade is a bit too pale for me. Like when I was applying it, I'm pretty sure you can see like this foundation is pretty light for my skin, and I think it might be intentional to brighten the skin up. So if you're looking for a closer match, I would say to go a shade or 2 darker in this foundation. It doesn't contain any SPF though, so yeah. But I'm pretty sure on camera you can see like it is pretty white and it kind of looks a bit ashy too. Also, I didn't put any foundation on my forehead because my fringe generally covers that area. But yeah, you could see like the difference between my forehead and the rest of my face. My forehead looks more yellow and beige toned, while my face is looking quite pale and ashy. So I'm not too bothered by it actually because I can bronze my face up. And I do like the brightening effect it has. Sometimes it comes in handy, you know? Alright, so now I'm going to set half of my face, this side, with some powder, and I'm going to use the Koki translucent powder because this foundation actually gave me quite good oil control and I used it previously with my Innisfree no sebum powder. So I'm just trying to see if the powder did some magic with the foundation or not. But powders do help in like keeping foundations from separating on the face, so we shall see if this foundation separates without any powder on. And I'm also going to bronze my face up because I look really ghostly right now, so I need to add some warmth to my face. So that's it for now. We shall see how the foundation continues to wear. But like I said, I did wear this foundation for about 8 hours previously, and I had on the YSL All Hours Primer and Innisfree No Sebum Blur Primer. And on top of the foundation, I had my Innisfree No Sebum Mineral Powder. So I thought this foundation was really good that day. It gave me like 5 to 6 hours of oil control, which is fantastic. And I didn't like really get shiny or dewy on my face. I didn't feel like my skin was heavy with oil or uncomfortable. However, it does cling on to dry areas and it will accentuate those areas. So do be careful if you have any. And there was very little transfer when I blotted away with tissue, so that is very good also. However, the foundation did wear off on my nose and on the sides of my nose. So yeah, it wore off like after about 5 hours, I would say, so that is quite good longevity. But yeah, we shall see how the foundation goes today as well. So it's been 2 hours and the foundation has kind of like broken down and worn off my nose already. The powder side did help a bit, so I suppose powder does help keep the foundation together. Also, I am kind of oily like on the sides of my nose. Not too much on my cheeks yet, just like this section over here where my finger is, and also on my nose. So yeah, I'm thinking powder really does help with this foundation. So right now it's about 8 hours since I put on the foundation, and I hadn't planned on going out earlier, and then I did, so I have this foundation on for longer than expected. And I wasn't really taking care of the foundation because it was a bit humid, so I did like perspire a bit, and I think the foundation has kind of worn off on like the centers of my cheeks. You can't really tell under this lighting, but it's like worn off over here, and then it's starting to separate or look cakey on like the drier sides of my face. It feels kind of like heavy and not tacky, but you know, that oily feeling. So yeah, it's at this point it's not very comfortable, but it still looks alright, I suppose. It's not like super cakey or anything. But yeah, I do think like the Innisfree No Sebum Mineral Powder that I used the first time around helped the foundation to stay on and stay oil-free. So that is it for now. I will try it out once more and let you guys know my final thoughts. Hey guys, so today's my third time wearing this foundation and my skin is a little bit dry today, so it is kind of like accentuating some of my dry areas, and I've got some flakies around. And I've had it on for about 5 hours now, so I'm not looking super oily. I do have the Innisfree primer and powder on today, so yeah, I'm not looking super oily, but it has definitely worn off on my nose and it is like starting to wear off or like just separate and cake around the sides of my nose, so it looks quite gross over there. But from afar it actually looks pretty okay, like it's not obvious and it's not terrible, but it's just not wearing off very nicely at the moment. You know what, if you blot the excess oils off, everything looks a lot better and less like cakey or less signs of separating. So I just blotted and you see it doesn't look that bad anymore. And again, from afar everything looks very nice still. Okay, so I really like this foundation, but I feel like it performs a lot better when I combine it with the Innisfree Mineral No Sebum Powder. But on its own, it's pretty like average and comparable to other Korean brand foundations. In general, I do not think that Korean brand foundations can compare up to Western brand foundations. So far, most of my Western brand foundations have performed better in terms of longevity and oil control for me, and my Korean foundations tend to separate and get oily on my face very quickly. So this foundation got like oily and it started breaking down on my face when I didn't use the no sebum mineral powder, so that is what I'm ranking it based on so it's going to be towards the bottom of my list because of that, but with the powder, you know, it can be on top of my list. So yeah, don't get me wrong, I do like this foundation. It just needs to be combined with the no sebum mineral powder in order for it to work and last. But yeah, I hope this video helped you out in deciding whether or not to buy this foundation. I think it is quite a good, you know, idea for Innisfree to come up with such a product. And yeah, so thanks for tuning in with me today, and I'll see you guys soon in my next video. Bye bye!